Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Coach's Cage Show, live from Arnie's Pizza in Rensselaer, right across from St. Joseph's College. Bob Kurtz, Bill Kay, and Scotty Miller, the whole crew, back with you again for another Wednesday night. This is dwindling down, Billy.
Dwindling down fast, man.
And we lost the girls' coaches, of course, last week, so we're all into the boys' coaches, and 4 of them are here already, so we'll kick things off with Ryan Harrington from the Tri-County Cavaliers. Ryan, good to see you. How's it going?
Good. How are you guys?
Doing really well. One game to talk about, right?
Yes.
Tell us when it was, score, and take us through the game.
So last Friday we traveled down to Benton Central. We played the Bison down there, and they got a nice gym down there, nice big gym.
Yes,
obviously.
they do.
We were unable to beat them. We fell to them 49-40. So pretty tough game, kind of back and forth. The biggest thing at that game that kind of got us was the first quarter. We came out, and they're a really good shooting team. You guys had their game the night before with Rensselaer, and obviously they played a tough contest the night before, and we knew they would be fired up, ready to go after that tough defeat, and sure enough they were. They, really aggressive guards, driving hard middle, and as soon as you help, they kick to the open shooter, and they can knock those shots down. So early on, they definitely were doing that to us. Coming out of that first quarter, it was 19-7. So we kind of struggled to find things offensively, and like I said, they were kind of scoring at ease. Trend kind of continued there into that second quarter. At one point, I know we were down 23-8, and we decided we got to change things up. So we went to a zone on them instead to kind of limit their drive. And when they went to kick, we kind of had that built-in help then within the zone, and our boys did a great job of it. We had practiced it a little bit during the week because we knew we have to have this in our back pocket against a team that's as good as they are. And thankfully we did that because our boys executed it really well. I think my only complaint about it was there was a few times we gave up some long offensive rebounds, but that's going to happen when you're going against a team that shoots a lot of threes, as well as when you're playing a zone. So Benton Central on the night, they shot 37 threes on us.
Whoa,
so
geez.
they were just letting it fly.
37, that's a ton.
But they only made 9. So they weren't shooting very good necessarily. So that was one of the things where we just told the boys, get a great contest. As long as we get the rebound, we're going to be fine. And, the few times we didn't get the rebound, a lot of times they were just kicking it out for another three-point shot. And obviously they weren't necessarily super successful with that. So, again, once we went to that zone, we held them to only 23 points the rest of the night. And, again, we played them really tough. Offensively, we started to get our groove figured out. Nate Corbin was really dominant for us on the inside. He finished with 17 points, 13 rebounds, so another double-double for him. And, again, he's just a real handful at this point. And at the end of his senior year, obviously, he's been through a lot of wars. He's a guy, you don't want to think too much about the end of this year when it's over, but to be honest, the other night I was thinking that when I was watching him score with ease on the inside. I just thought, man, how are we going to replace this next year? Because we don't have anybody on our team, and I haven't seen a lot of teams we've gone against this year that have a guy as talented as him when he gets going on the inside. So Nate really carried us, like I said, but a couple other guys, Riley Hughes hit a timely 3 for us at one point in the game. They got a fast break dunk, and the crowd really got into it, and I kind of let it play out, and I'm glad I did because we got it up the floor real quick. And like I said, Riley Hughes buried a 3 to kind of calm things down, quiet the crowd down. And Kobe Baylor was big for us, scoring in the double digits. And Will Getz has come a long way, another senior that we've started depending on the matchup. And as far as a guard, he played a lot of JV throughout his high school career. He didn't really get up on the varsity and get consistent minutes until this season, but I think he really shined through on Friday night with his ability to drive to the hoop, kick. There's a few times where he just drove hard and was able to get all the way to the rim and just finish with an open layup. So, for a kid like that, if I went back and played film of him as a freshman on the JV, I don't know if anybody would believe that kid was a varsity starter. So as far as a guy that's come a long way and continue to improve, he's a great example for a lot of our younger kids in the program.
Kobe Baylor, is he back to 100% not now after that injury?
Yeah. I mean, the biggest thing now that some of our guys are dealing with is just, the flu's going around the school. So that's the thing we're dealing with now, just a little bit of sickness. As far as, injuries, physical injuries, we're pretty well getting those things taken care of. Like you guys mentioned there, he banged up his knee at North Newton, but if I didn't tell you that he did that, if you just saw him play Friday night, didn't realize the week before he had banged up his knee, you wouldn't have even realized it. So he's doing fine as far as that's concerned.
On the Winnemac game, did it end up having a lot of Corbin versus Sisson matchups?
Benton
Central,
big
yeah.
guy.
Yeah, absolutely. Sisson, you mentioned him. He's a sophomore for Benton Central, big guy, and he's a heck of a shooter. He's got good height to him, but he likes to spend more time behind the three-point arc, and we talked to Nate about that, recognizing, like, hey, you got to be on the perimeter. Now, like I said, there was a point there in the second quarter we went to a zone, so Nate didn't really have to defend him much, but on the other end, Nate was going at Sisson, and I know they were both exchanging words, nothing over the top. It was just, they were really competitive, and he told me afterwards, he's like, yeah, I was really getting under his skin, as in, Nate getting under Sisson's skin, because again, like I mentioned before, Nate's got some good post moves down low, and he's a handful. And we were running sets to where he's setting a screen to get Kobe Baylor open and then immediately posting his guy up to get a good seal on the top side. And it's really tough to guard. Those are the type of actions you see teams across the country, type of stuff Purdue does with Zach Edey to make sure he gets his man sealed high side. You get that pass inside, it's about impossible to guard. So we really put Sisson in a tough spot a few times defensively, but I'll give him a lot of credit. He came away with, I think, 3 or 4 blocks on the night. He was just really good at timing when we got that pass in, even on Nate, when to jump up and get a hand on that basketball without fouling.
It seems like Nate has, early in the year, he would just float around and shoot threes occasionally, but it seemed like he's molded into playing down low more.
Yeah, well, me and him have butted heads quite a bit about where to get him, and like you said, get him down low. But he's definitely started to buy in that regard. There's even a point, on Friday where me and him are both really competitive guys, and sometimes we just get in the heat of the moment and we kind of go back and forth. And I took him out of the game, and if you were just watching on the side, you probably thought we hated each other. We were kind of in a screaming match, but we were just trying to get across to each other what we both wanted. In the end, we both wanted the same thing. It was just we had to get on the same page, and as soon as we did, like I said, we started running some of those sets for him where he's sealing his guy high side. It's really pretty when he gets going like that, and that's what we've tried to explain to him, that he can shoot. I mean, he hit a 3 on him. He hit a tough contested 3 at one point. He just gets a pass from Eric Zarzi, a little shot fake sidestep 3 with a hand in his face. I mean, that's a tough shot, and especially for a big man to hit. But I've tried to help him explain to him that that's a great shot once you've got your confidence, once you've scored a few on the inside, because Sisson was doing a good job of contesting it, but some teams you go against, when you start scoring on the inside a lot, they're going to start backing off of you on the three-point line, because they're like, he's going to come in here and post me up, and there's nothing I can do about it. So I've just tried to help him understand that getting on the inside is going to open up his outside game, and it's going to make those shots easier, because when he just catches and shoots straight up, I mean, he's as good as anybody on our team. The thing that he falls into, that I think a lot of kids fall into, is sometimes they want to get a little fadeaway going into it, or just a little something extra that maybe it looks cool, and if they hit the shot, they'll be all excited. But that's not necessarily what's going to be a good shot, especially for a team. When you have a teammate doing that sort of thing, that kind of can kill some team chemistry when you got your teammates looking over like, really, dude, that's the shot you took. So,
Coach, just in your past years' experience, a player like Corbin, is coming down the stretch and really into his own. Can he carry you in a sectional? A guy. I know you got got a full team, a lot of guys that key parts, but athletic, big senior that sees his days on the court dwindling.
Yeah.
Can he carry you?
I mean, yeah, I think so. Again, he's really hungry to win, and he's not the only guy on the team. Again, we've got a lot of juniors who have been starting now for a couple years, and they're really hungry too. If Nate gets going, though, it just makes the job easier for a guy like Kobe Baylor. Nate averages over 12 a game. Kobe's right at 11, so he's right behind him, and that's what we've tried to help both those guys understand. When one of them's hot, it makes life easier for the other guy. Now he has more opportunities, and he can look to get his points, and then even the other starters on our team. It's just going to make three-point shots easier for all those guys, because we got some guys that can really space the floor out when the conditions are right.
Midwest Conference, ends up North Newton winning it last night with a nice win over South Newton at 6-1. But 3 teams tied now for second place. Is that still something you guys are gunning for? You're tied with DeMont Christian Frontier.
Yeah.
At 4-2. You can finish, at second place in the conference.
Yeah, that's something we definitely want to do. We were kind of talking there, off air. We're at 8-11 right now with 3 games left. So really coming off that Benton Central game, that's kind of what we talked about. We have an opportunity to go 500 in the regular season, and that'd be a heck of an accomplishment if we were able to do that. We started the year off 0-5 and really in a tough spot. Morale was pretty low there at times. There was a couple weeks there that were pretty tough, but these guys stuck through. They kept practicing hard, and obviously they're seeing the results. We've had a really successful run here since the new year started, going 6-3 since the turn of the year. So that's kind of just stuff we're trying to build on and keep improving heading into that sectional, because we can talk about how wide open the sectional is too, but getting those wins like the Faith Christian to close out our conference schedule, playing up to against some 2A teams in Clinton Prairie and Pioneer, those are the things that are going to help prepare us when it comes time for that sectional.
Yeah,
here
because
in
I
a
don't
couple
think
weeks.
there's anybody over 500 in that
No,
sectional, is there?
no. I mean, us and Frontier both have 8 wins, so we're kind of at the top of it. Frontier's only 8-10 though, so they have 1 less loss, but we beat Frontier, so that's a team we think we can compete with. Caston's the one team that we don't play in the regular season. Now we're changing that moving forward. Next year they'll be on our schedule, so that'll be good. But that's the one team we haven't seen. They're at 7-13. I know their coach Carl Davis. He's a heck of a coach. So I know that they'll be ready to go. And then West Central's a team that beat us at home earlier in the year on a really tough loss for us in the conference by only 4 points. So that's another 7-win team that is going to be tough. And you can look at North White and South Newton at the bottom and think, oh, they don't have a good record, they don't have a chance, but it doesn't matter when it comes to the sectional. It's everybody's 0-0, and
Just gotta have one good night.
yeah,
don't
absolutely. And I know that they're going to be ready to play. Their coaches aren't any different than us. They want to win. They've been working with these kids all year long to be ready for one thing, and that's the sectional. So that those teams are going to come out ready to play no matter what. And again, with all these teams being former Midwest Conference or current Midwest Conference teams, it is kind of a cool, unique little sectional that we're all pretty familiar with each other. We've played each other this year, and a lot of rivalries in this sectional, and that just kind of makes for a great atmosphere.
So what's coming up this weekend then?
This weekend, like we just mentioned, we'll get our last conference with Faith. Faith is a solid team. Now they're kind of unique. They kind of close out the year with all conference games, so they're only sitting at 2-2 right now. They could realistically get up in the mix and
8-11 overall.
Yeah, so they could get in the mix and get a second place for the conference too with some of these games. They've been kind of up and down this year. They got some guards who really like to shoot threes, and if they're hitting threes, then they're going to be a tough team for us to stay with because they score a lot of points. But if we're able to limit those looks and get the rebounds and take care of things on our end of the floor, I think we'll be fine.
And then Clinton Prairie, are they kind of unknown here in this area, but they're 10-9.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
at least they have them at home for sure.
Yes, yeah. And again, that's a really good coach team. That's Chad Peckinpah. So they play that. It's like a kind of a hybrid 2-1-2 defense. That's like all they do. So it gives us kind of a different look there heading into the sectional. And they're always a team that has a lot of length and a lot of athletes. It doesn't matter what year it is. Clinton Prairie always seems to have really good players. And again, Peckinpah, obviously, his dad was a heck of a coach when he was at McCutcheon, and he was a heck of a player, but he's doing a really good job. If you look at his record over there at Clinton Prairie, I mean, he's had them winning games every single year. They're always very competitive, and you can tell they're a really well-coached team.
And your last game's a big night for Tri-County, isn't it?
Yeah, we got Pioneer there, then to finish things off on next Friday night. So.
With activities, you got what? Is that senior night?
That's senior night, Pioneer. The big activity is this Friday. Yes. This Friday with Faith, we've got our homecoming as well as a Hall of Fame induction. So we're going to induct 5 athletes in the Hall of Fame, including a couple of former basketball players that, I got the pleasure of coaching both of them, actually. The 2 basketball players are Austin Schneider and Benny Patterson. Now, Austin I didn't coach as a basketball player, but I was his cross-country and track coach his senior year. So
you made them what they are.
I helped in that regard, and I'll tell you, Austin was a really good basketball player, but he was probably a better distance runner, to be honest with you, because he was a semi-state qualifier by himself, multiple-time sectional champion in track. So, a heck of a track athlete. But again, he was a really good point guard, part of the 2015 sectional team that went up to the regional, beat Oregon Davis in that first round of the regional, and played Marquette Catholic really tough in the championship game then later that night. And then, I mentioned Benny Patterson. I got to coach him, obviously, as a two-time. I got to coach him as both the freshman coach and later on as the JV coach. And, I mean, you want to talk about a heck of an athlete, a hard worker, and, he was incredible to watch. He would get.
Yes, he was.
He's got our school record for steals in a season. He's got he's our fourth leading scorer of all time. And just an incredible kid. A great story as far as a kid that's overcome a lot of things in his life, and is just such a positive influence to everyone around him. And he is somebody that he came to one of our games earlier this year because I got Coach Cook, his good friend Bryce, on the coaching staff, so he came and saw a game, and you could just tell the whole gym kind of lit up when Benny walked in. All the fans wanted to go talk to him. Everybody wanted to go see him. And I got some of my current players were the little kids that were fans of his when he was a player. It was kind of funny because I was sitting over on the bench, and some of them were coming over there like, "Oh, you see Benny Patterson's over there? Oh my gosh, that's Benny Patterson!" And I'm just like, "Yeah, it's just Benny, guys. Like, come on, what are you talking about?" But it's kind of cool seeing how our current players really idolize those former players and the impact that makes on the future.
Before we let you go, bring us up today in the JV Cavs. How are they doing?
So they unfortunately lost to Benton Central. They were coming off they were on a 10-game win streak, so they were doing really well.
Wow.
So a lot of potential there at that level. We're trying to get some of those guys a lot of experience.
What's their record now?
Oh, now you're putting me on the spot. I'm not sure off the top of my head.
Oh, okay.
They maybe 10 and what? They've played 3 less games than us, so I would go. Let's say 10-6. I don't know, something like that. They have a winning record. So again, we've talked to them. Obviously, though, about these last 3 games, want to end the season on a high note. We've told them this is basically their sectional. You got 3 games here to finish them off. You got to win all 3 if you want to win a sectional. So that's kind of the challenge we've had with those kids. But again, a really good group of kids, and have improved tremendously throughout the year. With a lot of freshmen and only a couple of sophomores there, that's really all you ask for at that junior varsity level.
Ryan, thanks for coming in. Appreciate it. Good luck this weekend, and we'll talk to you next Wednesday, all right?
Awesome.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Ryan Harrington from the Tri-County Cavaliers, back with more of the Coach's Cage on 3kgthecage.com after this.
High-quality, personalized dental service is what they do at Hillcrest Dental. For over 40 years, generations have relied on Hillcrest Dental for beautiful, healthy smiles. Dr. John Ayler and Dr. Jack Drone look forward to seeing you for your next dental visit. For information or to set your appointment, call 219-866-7117. That's 219-866-7117. Or visit hillcrestdental.net. Hillcrest Dental is a proud sponsor of all high school athletics.
Meet you at Arnie's. Lear's 2 pizza and pizza, sandwiches, burgers are here. Don't forget about dessert. Wings, cheese sticks, garlic.
869-0290.
Scotty Miller controlling the board tonight. Bill Kay right across from me. I'm Bob Kurtz. We're at Arnie's Pizza. Thank Beth and the gang for feeding the coaches and giving them drinks throughout the whole year here. Couldn't do it without them, Billy.
Oh, man, what a great atmosphere it is here. It's a perfect venue for us, and it really just...
It's pretty centralized for the coaches, too. I mean, not
Yeah.
far away from North White, not far away from South Newton, not far away from everywhere. So
It's just
we
a
appreciate it.
piece of the puzzle that has helped make this part of our highlights for 3KG. We love this coaches show.
Yeah,
The-
me too.
Ricky Monemeyer has joined us now, and Ricky, you got a lot of games to talk about. I'm going to turn it over to you and take it away.
Yeah, I've got 3 to talk about. So beginning of the month, we opened up with Fountain Central, who was ranked top 10 in the state. They coming in, we knew they were going to be pretty tough. They had a 6'8" kid, bunch of good guards, and they're really not senior heavy. They've got a lot of juniors in that group, so I expect them to be pretty good next year. Coming in, the 6'8" kid did not play against us. I think the night before bruised up his ribs real bad, so he didn't play, and I mean it did really make a difference. The Harmon kid, number 3, he went off and had 10 threes in the game.
Whoa.
Broke a school record for them.
Man.
How many points did he score?
38.
38.
He outscored our team. But it's not like we weren't guarding him or letting him have wide open shots. He was pulling up the volleyball line. He was catch and shoot with hand in his face. Like, it didn't matter what we were doing. He was just on fire the whole night or whole afternoon, I guess, and just not much we could do about it. I thought our kids battled pretty hard. They outscored us quite a bit in that first quarter, but outside of that, I thought we played not even, but we were competitive for the most part the rest of the way after that, which was nice to see against a good team like that. Didn't know what to kind of expect from our guys. We just knew them coming in, they were going to be pretty good, and they took it to us. Not going to deny that, but the kids did battle. We played a little harder, and we had multiple kids score again. Connor Latta led us with 9 in that game. Basewick had 8, and then Biguski and Hoskins both had 6. And then the following Saturday, so we had a week off to practice, and we played Iroquois West at home as our homecoming. Another team that came in with that 6'9" kid that's going to Iowa next year, football. All week we were kind of game planning around guarding him, making sure we were accountable where he was at on the floor. And I thought we did a really good job on him. We held him to 12 points. He didn't have really that many rebounds or anything. The ones that were kind of bounced right back to his face on offensive boards he would get to. But for the most part, our kids did a pretty good job of matching up with him. We just couldn't score. No matter what we did, no matter what shots we took, just everything was nothing.
Seems to be a
falling.
theme this year, right?
That's been the theme. Yeah, we just can't get anything going offensively, and a lot of it we keep telling our guys too. We're not attacking enough to get to the free throw line to give us more scoring opportunities. We get, I think that game we only had 8 free throw attempts. Fountain Central only had 6, and then last night in the North Newton game, not to get too far, we only had 4 attempts. So if we get to the line 10 plus times a game, I think it would help us scoring wise to get some flow going. But we're trying to avoid contact as we go to the rim instead of embrace the contact and finish hard at the rim. But like I said, in this game, I thought we defended the kid pretty well. The 3 kids that I marked at the scouting report of kids we have to find, we did a really good job matching up on. There's one kid that we didn't have really marked on that kind of went off, hit 15, but that usually happens when we game plan and try to stop other guys.
Sure.
There's one random wild card out there that kind of goes off. So leading us that night again was Connor Latta. He had 8 points, and then we had a couple of 4. And then last night went to North Newton. Props to them. They played hard, had a good game plan going. Gagnon and Levy were very hard for us to stop, especially when Hoskins and Basewick were out of the game and 2 minutes into the game with fouls. I think they had 5 combined fouls there in the first 2 minutes of the quarter. Literally, we didn't even get halfway point, and they were already out of the game. And then we only had one kid really score for us. Connor Latta had 12 of our 16. And then we just never got anything going offensively. Came out flat, not a lot of energy. I think the crowd was getting to some of the kids. They probably hadn't experienced an environment like that. That was definitely the loudest gym we've been in this year as far as just, right on top of you, and it's not cheers for you, it's against you the whole time. So we didn't respond the way we should have. I would have liked to make it a little more competitive, even though they probably have, better kids than we do. But we just got to move on to the next one, get ready for Saturday. We got North Miami on Saturday. Winnable game. They're coming in at 1-18, 1-19, something like that, I think.
They won their first game
against North White.
And lost 18.
I was just talking to Matt. They were up 15 with 3 to go, too. So hopefully we can come out and battle a little bit. I know they got 2 kids that are pretty good. They're young, too. They've got a bunch of sophomores and freshmen that play for them. But 2 guards that are pretty solid. I've started watching film on them a little bit today. And I don't know. We'll see. Hopefully we come out and battle a little bit on Saturday.
Ricky, go ahead.
I see, Coach, when your team just refreshed my memory last night. You're pretty thin as far as offensive guys, but I go back to that, and I'm not making excuses for you, but you lose Chase Stillbauer early on, and that's got to just really throw things. He was your lead. still your leading scorer.
Yeah. I say he's kind of the engine of the team, too. I've mentioned that before. He was kind of the kid that got everything going for us offensively. If we needed to score really bad, he would find a way to either get a score or create an opportunity for somebody else to score, whether it was driving and kicking or driving, getting to the rim, getting knocked down, and going to the free throw line. And then defensively, just super active, dives on the floor, hands are active, he's talking, directing traffic, and there's kids that definitely miss him on the floor. But being
Was
without
his
him,
injury in the game? Or
yeah,
It's the one we were doing.
Well, it
I don't know
started.
if you were there, but
It started at Beecher the Tuesday before the North White game. He planted to go into the basket and it buckled or something. Went down. Their trainer said that it probably just a sprain. Didn't seem like anything ACL was wrong. And then he didn't play against River Forest, and then he played the next night against North White.
yeah, that's the game we did.
I didn't do
He
that.
was in a
got
big-
hurt again. So
He was in a big brace. He got cleared to play limited time, so I had him in for like a minute or two, took him out. Same thing, had him in for that minute or two stretch, and then that's when it just, I don't know how it happened, but his leg went like behind his body. It was weird.
Yeah.
Crazy thing, and that was kind of just it. And he had a surgery recently. I think he had it on the 9th. He's doing physical therapy stuff now, so
doing okay.
it sounds like it. He's just a lot of pain. He's
Sure.
pretty stiff still, so hopefully by football he's back playing, and then basketball we can get him going again. But we do miss him on the floor, but one kid's not going to make a difference. The foul differential or whatever you want to call it last night wasn't going to make a difference. They just came out with more fire energy than we did. Their fans helped them get going, I think, and they never really looked back. They just, they took it to us for 32 minutes. So
How do you get your kids to want to shoot the ball? It seems like Latta is the only one that really wants to take a shot. And how do you get the others involved into trying to
I don't know.
score?
I had that conversation with Evan last night, in game, halftime, multiple times, and he can't give me an answer as to why he's not attacking like he should. And I think like guys like Basewick and Hoskins and even Corbin, guys like that are capable of scoring, especially when Corbin's driving, getting aggressive to
Yeah.
the rim.
I'd like to see that more often. Though.
Yeah, I was going to say we do too. We tell him that all the time, and he does in practice, and sometimes it just doesn't carry over the game, and we're not 100% sure why. And then Hoskins and Basewick, when they get the ball in the post and they're set up and their feet are square and they're not stretched out or off balance, I feel like they do a pretty good job.
Because they're
but-
good athletes.
Yeah.
Strong, physical, big.
Yep.
big
Say they're
guys.
really big kids, but lately Luke likes to settle for that, contested jump shot, which he's made quite a bit lately. But I'd like to see him pound it inside a little more and try to get the free throw line. Like, he's not a strong free throw shooter, but that's just going to draw fouls on them and give us a little more momentum. And sometimes I think our kids lack that understanding of the game, that portion of it. They want to, do the fancier thing or the easier thing instead of just driving into a guy and going up strong and drawing that contact and getting to the line every time. So, I don't know. Hopefully we can figure something out. We got 3 games left till sectional. Draw Sunday. Hopefully get a good draw, and then, like I said, anything can happen. The leaders in the sectional both have 8 wins right now. They're not too far from us. We're 0-19, but they're 8-10, 8-11. So I think depending on the draw, I think anything can happen. I've seen
And there's not one dominant team, is there?
No, I've seen crazier things happen. Like Caston, 10 years ago or so, had 2 wins going in and won the whole thing. So it's not completely undoable, but our guys got to start buying into getting better now every single game. It's got to just keep carrying over, and until they do that, we've been talking a lot about mental toughness stuff. We did a read-through thing yesterday, and I think some of the kids are starting to buy into that, about being a tough player, and hopefully that just keeps carrying for us, and then we can get some scoring, because we're not going to win a game scoring 20 points, 16 points in a game. We got to be in the 30s,
You need somebody
40s.
to go off like that Fountain Central kid.
Yeah.
Do that
I
on
can only
you.
wish, right?
So you got some winnable games, the remainder of the games, right?
Yeah, North Miami Saturday. Like I said, they're like 1-18, 1-19. And then Faith is up next week. I think they got 6 wins or so, 7
8,
wins.
8-11 they
They're
are.
8-11 now.
And that's a Monday game, huh? Is that a
Yeah, I didn't know. I thought it was.
reschedule?
I don't think so. I think it's always been Monday. For some reason, I thought it was on a Tuesday until like last week. But then Attica, last game of the year, they haven't won a game yet either. But they are scoring a little bit. They're playing hard. I watched them over at North White a couple weeks ago or last week. They'll play hard. They're very young and inexperienced and kind of remind us a little bit, but we've got a little more experience with the age factor, just being seniors and juniors on our varsity. So I don't know. We'll see. We're hoping as a staff, as a group, just to keep getting better. The goal is sectional now. And it's just got to be a day at a time. We can't just fix it all right now. It's got to be one day at a time, get something better.
Ricky, thanks for coming over. Appreciate it.
Let's talk about
Go ahead.
Briefly. I thought your junior varsity kids really had a good outing last
Yeah,
night. They just fought. That was an exciting game, and they were
That was exciting.
As I say, if we would have gave Matthew Armstrong 4 quarters of JV, probably would have won that game. I think Coach Taylor told me today he had like 11 points, 10 boards, 5 steals in 3 quarters.
Yeah, he played
So
well in the varsity game.
I thought he did too. He plays hard. He's just super raw, but as far
Freshman?
as just a knack for the ball. He knows where the ball is at. He understands positioning pretty well. He's got a nice jump shot, even though it looks kind of awkward. He hits a lot of them, but he just plays hard, and his motor is 110% all the time. And that's why he's getting varsity minutes. He just plays hard all the time, and that's what we're looking for. Same with Dominic Scott. He's another one. He's another kid that's pretty raw, but a lot of potential. He takes care of the ball. He plays hard. Defensive positioning's pretty good. He'll dive on the floor for you. He'll listen. Just do the little things that we're looking for. So future's bright in that aspect. I like the freshman class we've got. I think there's some pieces we can work with there, and hopefully they can come together in the next year or two to put something together on the varsity.
Good luck the rest of this way out here. I think you guys.
You guys have any more games for us or no?
No,
Nope.
we do not. No,
Yeah.
we're down to just.
We got
single
one
game.
left.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
all right, Ricky, thanks a lot.
Thank you guys. I appreciate it.
Coach.
Ricky Monemeyer from the South Newton Rebels. Back and talk with Bill Shepard from Kankakee Valley right after this on 3kgthecage.com.
Founded in 1931, Community State Bank in Brook is your community bank. We specialize in relationship banking while offering the technology required to meet your modern banking needs. Community State Bank is the area leader in new construction loans and home mortgages. Our lenders know small business and have products to meet your farm and business needs. We're available to get to know you and your needs today at 224 West Main in Brook or by calling 219-275-2441.
Meet you at Arnie's, Rensselaer's go-to pizza and so much more. Pizza, sandwiches, burgers are here. Don't forget about dessert. Wings, cheese sticks, garlic bread too. Arnie's pizza menu has something for everyone. Dine in or carry out in the best pizza in town. Located across from St. Joseph's College in Rensselaer. Call 219-866-9999 and meet you at Arnie's.
Reinforcements Designs is a full-service graphic design, screen printing, and sign shop. They offer logo designs, screen printing, banners, signs, vehicle lettering and graphics, airbrushing, vinyl letterings, digital printed graphics, freehand engraving, and more. 37 years of design and graphics, Reem Bontrager will help you come up with a customized project of your ideal or plan. Just ask, give Reinforcements Design a call at 219-866-8626 for your next graphic design project.
All right, Bob Kurtz, Bill Kay, and Scotty Miller back with you here. And Billy, our 3KG live stream schedule is dwindling down to one here.
It is. It is.
February 24th will be up at Kankakee Valley as the Cougars on senior night, I assume.
Yep.
Take on the North Judson Blue Jays, so we're looking forward to that game. And then coaches shows the rest of the way till first part of March. So Bill Shepard has stopped by now to join us and talk a little KV basketball. Busy week for the Cougs, right?
Yeah, we've been keeping pretty busy. There's no doubt about that.
Well, you got 3 games. I'm going to turn it over to you and take it away.
Okay, on last Friday night, we hosted the Hebron Hawks. They came down, and
You were worried about that game.
I'm worried about every game.
Oh, I forgot, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, we the Hebron came down, and Hebron for a small school, they got some good size. They're 6'5", 6'7". So obviously matched up pretty well against us, but we played pretty well that night. We started off a little bit slow. don't know if we were kind of feeling things out or whatever, but I mean, we were down 13-12 at the end of the first quarter, but then after that, I mean, we had 21, 20, and 21 the last 3 quarters. So I mean, we obviously got comfortable pretty quick after the first quarter, and just played some really good basketball. Wound up winning 74-50. So a really good, just a really good game where we just kept extending the lead basically after the first quarter every 8 minutes. So just a pretty solid effort all around. So yeah, it was a good home game to have. We had Cam Webster led us with 20 points that night. That was basically his first game back off of his foot injury. Still a little hobbled, but not too bad there. Obviously with 20 points, did well. Jeremiah Jones, the junior, 6'5" junior for us, had 15, and Hayden Days, the 6'7" senior center, had 14. So we, obviously getting basically 50 points between those three is always good. So
your big guys must have matched up pretty good against their big guys. So.
Yeah, and I mean, they're playing with more confidence each and every night out, and a lot more chemistry between Jeremiah and Hayden than there was at the start of the year. So
you kind of made an emphasis of working your big guys into the offense, right?
Yeah, and I mean, after the Twin Lakes game, we made a huge, push towards getting the ball inside, and our perimeter people are starting to figure out that it's making their job a lot easier, and we're just shooting better as a result from the perimeter because of it. Because now, I mean, even now teams are just packing it inside, making it tough for us to go inside, and our guys are just getting literally like wide open driveway type shots. So I mean, it's. It's just making everything a lot easier now that we're showing the willingness to do that.
Right.
I mean, before when you weren't showing the willingness to do it, everybody's like, well, they're going to throw it in there anyway. So, I mean, but now that we're showing that, now that we're going to go in there, either you let us pass it in there or you're just going to give us wide open shots from the outside. So that's kind of where that's at. So that was a pretty good win for us to have, obviously, against Hebron. Then the next night, East Chicago Central came in on Saturday night, and I mean they're very athletic. They don't have any 6'7s, but they got a bunch of 6'4", 6'5s across the board. And you can't basically have two different types of teams to play than Hebron and East Chicago Central. So it was good for us to have that type of disparity over the course of 2 days. We played pretty well that night. We got out to a 22-14 lead at the end of the first quarter. Doing the things we wanted to do. We were down 3 at half. Second quarter kind of hurt us a little bit. A little bit of foul trouble in the second quarter hurt us. Because it's against a team like East Chicago, you really don't want to go too deep, too early anyway. And we were down by 3 at half, but still you're right in the game. I mean, and we were only down 6 going into the fourth quarter, so we were down 55-49. So I mean, we were within a possession or two literally the entire game. Just in the fourth quarter when we had to get a stop or two in a row, we just couldn't do it. I mean, they're athletes, and there was 4 or 5 possessions that we kind of coaxed them into shooting the exact shot that we wanted them to shoot, and we didn't collect the rebound. They got to put back or whatever. It's just one of those where they're tough to block out because they're so athletic, and then if you aren't going to be as really aggressive to the ball, they're going to beat you to it. And it's just one of those where they're doing what we want them to do. We got to capitalize on it, and we just let that one get away. But I mean, playing we lost 83-72. Fun game for the fans to watch.
Absolutely.
I mean, you pay your $6 to get in and see over 155 points. It's not too bad, So, but yeah, it was just one of those situations where both teams played well. And we just didn't get a couple stops that we needed, and that happens sometimes. So no shame in that. We felt pretty good about ourselves coming out of that game. Just we didn't get the W out of it. So
who played well for you that game?
Cam Webster again had 29 for us that night. Led us. Had a lot of free throws. He actually he attacked more and went to the line. He was 13 of 15 from the free throw line that night. So had a lot of points from the line, which was good. Hayden Days had 16. I really thought that, I thought he probably played the best first half he's played all year. In fact, I told my assistant about halfway through the second quarter that Hayden's just dominating the game. And to our discredit, we kind of forgot about him, and it was a situation where they were pressuring us, and our guards were getting a little sped up, and we just kind of forgot about Hayden. And it's when you're a big guy, I mean, you depend on other people to get you the basketball, and we just for a stretch there we just went away from him, and that's probably what cost us probably the game, because we just didn't stick to our guns, and like I said, that first half was probably the best I've seen him play. And in fact, after we got the stats back, he had 16 points and 17 rebounds that game.
Whoa!
I mean, it was just a ridiculous night for him, and it was just a shame that we we kind of let ourselves go away from him, and that's our fault as coaches too, to not keep hammering that home, especially when you see it slipping a little bit. Hey, this guy's carried you for the first 12, 15 minutes of the game. Let's not forget he's out there. And Hayden's, he'll even tell you he's too nice a guy sometimes. I mean, back in my day, if I forgot about my center, I mean, I'd have known about it within 2 minutes. That's just the way it was back then.
Yeah.
Dylan Holmes, I tell you, I mean, here's a kid that struggled all year long. He's a senior forward for us. In the lineup to start the year, really, really struggled out of the lineup for a long time. Now, since basically half our team was injured, so he's back in the lineup, and he, against East Chicago, 13 points and just did an outstanding job. So I really, really credit Dylan there for doing good work that night. His best game of the year by far. He felt really good about himself afterwards. So hopefully he continues to build on that, because he's a good shooter, and he's somebody that if he has confidence, he'll hit you 2 or 3 threes a game. So hopefully Dylan can build on that, and I mean, him playing like that against a team like East Chicago Central was not expected, but very welcome. So then last night, a Valentine's Day special up at Boone Grove. We head up there and played the Wolves up there, and another night when our offense was clicking. I mean, our last 3 games we scored 74, 72, and last night was 80.
You can expect that every game now.
Oh yeah, no doubt. Yeah, that'd be good. It's just one of those. The offense just seems to be. We're going inside. We're getting good looks there. We're getting comfortable looks from the outside because of that. And we do have kids that can shoot it, but they need to be open. And I don't have a lot of guys that can shoot with a hand on their face very well, but they're guys that can make shots if they're given time to do that. And by going inside, we're giving them time to do that. And that was one of those games where we were only hit 16-14 at the end of the first quarter, but then just kind of like the Hebron game, we scored 21, 20, and 22. So it's just just the last 3 quarters we just continued to roll pretty well. Now Boone had a couple kids, a last name of Noonan and last name of Stevens, that we had a really hard time stopping. One had 21 and 22, but obviously when you're scoring 80, I mean you're going to be giving up some possessions that, it's like one of my assistants today said, well, Boone only scored 30 against Hanover, who we have this weekend. And I'm like, well, I mean, I don't know if any of our possessions took more than 15 seconds last night. I mean, and when you have that, it's just...
Is that okay with you?
As long as they're scoring 80, But it's just... But, I mean, and if you do that, you're probably giving Boone Grove probably 25 more possessions than they had against Hanover Central. So they're going to score more. That's kind of how that works. So... once again, Cam, good game for us, 25 points. Jeremiah Jones, our junior, had 15, and Hayden Days had 15. So Hayden's had a really good 3-game stretch, back to back. And once again, we had 55 points out of those guys combined last night. So I mean, if we get that from those 3, we're a pretty tough out for almost anybody. I want to mention though, we had our senior guard Colton Pribble come back last night.
Hey, that's good.
He about a couple weeks earlier than anticipated, but he came back. We brought him in off the bench last night, and he played really well. Had 8 points and hit a couple of threes, and
awesome.
So I mean, wearing the mask like he's supposed to, but going out there and doing good stuff, and we're going to be kind of getting him back in the lineup here probably by as early as Saturday night. So it'll be I think it was just good for the team to see him back out there and doing something.
Sure,
I bet, yeah. And the mask didn't bother him, the obstruction or anything like that?
No, he'd been wearing it a couple of days in practice to kind of get used to it, because, I mean, he kind of figured since Saturday that he was going to be, or that was his plan
Is
to
it a
come
broken
back.
nose? Okay.
Yeah. And it was kind of his plan to come back, and so he's been working with a mask in practice. He bought 2 different kinds of masks, and just because, I mean, he didn't know which would be better for him, and he tried both of them out and settled on the one he's wearing, and got used to it pretty quick. So everything was good, and like I said, he was happy. You could just tell he was happy to be back out there again last night. I mean, he was. We joked it was good to have him as assistant coach, but we like him better on the other side of the line.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Where does a kid get a mask like that? Do you guys get it for him, or where are those?
Amazon.
Wrestling store apparel.
Yeah, just go on Amazon. They get everything on Amazon.
Oh, all right.
So I'm sure that's where they got it. So
2 games left. Tell us about the next one.
We go to Hanover Central on Saturday. They're going to be a member of our conference next year.
Are they
So,
really?
Yeah. So we've already kind of said that we're 4-1 in conference, and we kind of would like to be 5-1 after Saturday night. Might as well treat them as a conference opponent. Even though they're not in until next year. I mean, they've had a pretty good year. I mean,
12-7 right now.
Yeah. So I mean, they're really, really hard-nosed half-court defense. I mean, they will pressure you all. I mean, they're going to get up in us and stuff, which we have to make sure that we don't get tunnel vision when we get people pressured us. Sometimes we like to just dribble and dribble and dribble and go wild. Just see the floor, see over the pressure, see past the pressure. You still want to get the ball inside, especially if they pressure you. That should make passes easier to get to the bigs. Continue to pound it in there and let them operate. And then obviously they're either going to have to loosen up their perimeter pressure, or we're just going to keep getting layups. I mean, from the big guys. So. Eventually you get pounded inside enough to loosen up that perimeter pressure, and then that's when you start knocking your shots down. So, we're going to be looking to do that. And we'd like to keep our rhythm that we're having offensively, and defensively for us, I mean, we haven't started preparing for them yet. We did more KV stuff today, but we'll start getting into what Hanover does tomorrow for the next couple of days, at least their main sets and stuff. So we would like to frustrate them a little bit and make them change some things they want to do. And we got to get better with our man-to-man anyway. That's just we just have to get better. So, and that's we're gearing up for sectional, so we're trying to do some things defensively and trying to test some people out defensively to see if hey, maybe there's a role for you come sectional time. Like last night we tried face guarding a little bit in the second half. Those two guys from Moon Grove, just to there's some teams in our sectional, if we play them, we're going to have to face guard a couple of their guys just because they're that good of players. And one of our guys that has not gotten a lot of playing time this year came in and just did a fabulous job face guarding somebody. So it's like, hey,
learn something.
Come sectional time, that might be the role for this guy.
Yeah.
He might be able to come in off the bench and give us quality minutes just doing that. So you're just trying to prepare and trying to give kids opportunities to do some things and just see what they can do even this late in the year.
Well, you got the sectional right there. Your thoughts on the sectional before the draw comes out?
Well, obviously, you got Chesterton. I mean, you got the four Doolins, Chesterton, Valpo, Portage, and Crown Point all in there, and it's going to be at Crown Point. There, if you're going to have to go through 1, 2, 3 of those at some point in time. So
not going to be any easy games, then, is there?
No, I mean, whenever you play any of those teams, you're going to have to be at the top level of your game to play, because they're gonna make you do things that you don't want to do, and they're going to see how well you adjust to things they do and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, and that's why I keep telling the kids, like in that sectional, and not just that sectional, but 4A in general. I mean, the coaching is just too good. I mean, we're not going to fool them guys with anything, and they're and that's where we got to be prepared on our end too. I mean, we can't not go in prepared. If we play Valpo, we got to know what Valpo is going to do. We got to make them go to Plan B, and see if they're smart enough to go to Plan B, because they're going to make us go to Plan B. And we got to be smart enough to adjust off of that too. So, and then of course you got the NCC schools of us, Hobart and Lowell. So you got 4 Doolins and 3 NCCs, and so it's kind of a nice mixed bag. I always joke, we'll just let the Doolin battle it out on one side, and we'll let the NCC battle it out on the other side, and we'll kind of see who beats in the championship. But it's we played Valpo really. I mean, the final score was about 20, but we were really close with Valpo for about 3 quarters. We played Portage close all game long. So I mean, we're there. We just, I wish we could have got one of those just so the kids know they could get one. But they're confident they can play with anybody in that sectional. So that's good enough for me going in.
Give us a little advanced scouting on that game that we're going to be at, your season closer, entertaining North Judson. They're 17-3.
Yeah, Judson's having a really good year. Obviously, they returned almost everybody from last year, and we went over there and they housed us last year at the last game of the year over there pretty good. So we obviously we haven't forgot about that. And then,
one then.
Yeah, that's going to be the plan on our senior night too. And we just talked about Hanover's having their senior night on Saturday, and we talked in the locker after boot about nothing better than ruining somebody's senior night. And that's and I know Judson's going to come in with that mentality when they come play us. And hopefully we don't allow that to happen. But Judson's just pretty solid across the board. They got a lot of kids that can shoot it. They got a big guy in the middle who's 6'5", 6'6", who's pretty athletic. I mean, he's dangerous because of everybody else they got. I mean, they spread you out pretty good because all those guys can really knock shots down, and then they'll penetrate the lane, and you have to help out if you can't stay in front. And then obviously that's where he cleans up. So. we do have the size advantage like we do everywhere else. It's just we can't get caught up in getting too fast, and just go inside, get the shots we want to get, and it'll be a good ball game. I think it's a great ball game for both teams to finish the year with, just because of how good they are, and how good they can shoot it, and all, with 4 guys on the floor that can knock down shots about whenever. That'll challenge us defensively good and prepares pretty well for section, even though they're only a 2A school. So looking forward to that game. Got to get Hanover first though, so we'll keep up on Hanover, and then we'll worry about Jensen after that.
Before we let you go, give us the JV report.
JV had the last 3 games had 3 good wins. So I mean,
they're having a pretty darn good year, aren't they?
Yeah, they're like I want to say like 16-4, something like that right now. So they're doing really well. They beat Hebron by about 20. Actually about 30. Beat East Chicago Central by 7. So did real well there, and then beat Boone Grove by about 20 last night. So they're rolling pretty good, and hopefully we can get the last 2 here for them for Hanover and Judson. It'll be about 18-4, and that'll be an outstanding year for them. Obviously, it's a lot of good stuff to look forward to, and that's with us having that bringing the sophomore Bobby Lalonde up. And I mean, bringing him up at halfway through the year, they're still winning games. So, it says a lot about that crew and the depth of that crew. So we're looking forward to having them up starting next year, and they've even gotten some time in the Hebron and Moon Grove game with some of those kids towards the end, and showed some things they can do. So it'll be fun. It's a fun time to be around right now. So hopefully we can keep building.
Bill, good luck this weekend, and we'll talk to you next Wednesday, all right?
Sounds good. Thanks, guys.
Thanks,
Bill
Coach.
Shepard from the Kankakee Valley Cougars back and talk with Sam Zachary from North Newton right after this.
Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance Agent Joe Goodeman has been serving the Jasper County and surrounding area since 2009. Being involved in the area, Joe Goodeman has kept his interest in making sure he provides the best insurance for his clients. Whether you need life, car, home, business, farm and crops, or even renter's insurance, Agent Joe Goodeman will keep searching for the best policy for your valued investments. Call Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance Agent Joe Goodeman at 219-866-4694 or stop in at 2570 North McKinley Avenue in Rensselaer.
High-quality personalized dental service is what they do at Hillcrest Dental. For over 40 years, generations have relied on Hillcrest Dental for beautiful, healthy smiles. Dr. John Ayler and Dr. Jack Drone look forward to seeing you for your next dental visit. For information or to set your appointment, call 219-866-7117. That's 219-866-7117, or visit hillcrestdental.net. Hillcrest Dental is a proud sponsor of all high school athletics.
Working with our customers has been Kentland Bank's trademark for 87 years. We're dedicated to making your visit a lasting one, and helping you achieve your goals is our #1 priority. With 5 locations, Kentland Bank offers all loans needed for today's businesses and families, including car loans, mortgages, agriculture, and commercial loans. We're here to make your busy life less hectic by offering online and mobile banking, bill pay, and P2P payments. Member FDIC and equal housing lender.
He's usually our leadoff man here. He's number 5 in the 5-hole tonight here.
Busy man.
He is busy. Sam Zachary has joined us now from the North Newton Spartans. We
ADs, you never know what they're going to be.
I don't know how they do it with all the. How do you do it? How do you manage all your time?
Especially during basketball season when you're.
It's rough. It is rough.
Not
between athletic director duties and all the stuff that goes with basketball, film and stats, and I usually get about 3 hours of sleep a night. 4 hours of sleep.
Well, how many games do we have to talk about from last Wednesday till tonight here?
Big win against Frontier and a win against South Newton.
2 wins. Okay, we'll talk about the Frontier game then, if you would.
It's always easier to talk about wins.
Yeah, absolutely.
Friday was a big win for us. We hosted Frontier. It was kind of, I think, we started it off. Gagnon started the game off with 4 threes in a row. And we got up like 12-5, and they ended up closing it. So closing the gap, and I think when we went into the end of the first quarter, it was 12-12. Second quarter, we didn't play very well. They pulled away and had an 8-point lead at halftime. So we go in, we try to make some adjustments. We come out. We didn't really play that well in the third quarter, and with probably about 11 seconds left, we were down 10. Church did a nice job of we got the ball out quick, kicked it ahead to him. He dribbled the length of the floor, got an and one right at the end of the third quarter. So at the end of the third quarter, we were down 7. And then we just, about the last 3 minutes of that game, we started playing hard, and we were able to pull out a win. Gagnon had we had a couple big defensive plays. They, for some reason, were trying to work the ball and not look to score, and they made a couple passes that I really don't know why they made them. We were able to get our hands on them and attack the rim. Gagnon hit a layup to tie it, and it was an and one. He missed the free throw, came down the floor, he 100% fouled the Hoover kid. They just chose not to call it that time. Ball went out of bounds, so we got the ball back tied with 20 seconds to go. Kind of had a loose ball that, the official was again generous and gave me a timeout that I probably didn't deserve. But we had the ball in front of our bench again with 10 seconds left. Got it to Church. We ran a 4-low baseline play. Church drove right. A guy stepped up, threw it to Clovis. Clovis hits a layup, so we go up 2 with like 2.5 seconds left. And this was 100% coaching. Gagnon fouled their worst free throw shooter right after we scored the basket to go up 2. Because I definitely yelled at him, "Hey, go foul him! Just run right through him." I didn't actually do that, but I'm gonna take the blame for it, I guess. So we fouled number 33, their point guard, who I don't think took a shot all night. He missed the first free throw. Patrick Berry got a big rebound. They fouled him on the rebound. He went down, hit a free throw. We missed the second one intentionally because there was only about 0.3 of a second left, and we ended up coming away with a 42-39 victory that at least clinched a share of the Midwest Conference for us.
So you finally reversed your fortunes from the previous games, right?
If this wasn't a family-friendly show, I would repeat what I said on the bench when we got down 10. But that's the first thing that went through my head is, my first year, we were in a position to win the conference, and we went to Tri-County and blew a lead and lost by 4. And then we played South Newton, and we had a tied game, turned the ball over, and ended up losing by 2. So we were 6 points away from winning the conference my first year. And then the last 2 years, we've been second place, losing to North White. So when we got into that Frontier game and we got down 10, first thing that popped into my head is we just can't finish the job. Like, we get this close every single year, and we always just let it slip away. And that's exactly how I said it, too. Why? Why do we just let it slip away? There wasn't any other words that were added to that. But, we didn't do anything different defensively. We stayed in a zone for the most part. We got them into turnovers or into bad shot attempts that we were able to go down and score on. And then we went man, and when we went man, they made some key mistakes, and we capitalized on them. So, I was really happy that after, blowing the 10-point lead against Tri-County, we were able to kind of do the opposite.
Feels better that way, doesn't
well,
it?
yeah, it feels better. Of course it does. We ended up winning.
Who played well for you that night?
I don't have my stats in front of me. I feel like Gagnon had somewhere around 26. Levy was around 8. I think Gagnon had 26. Levy had 8. Church had 7. Scoring was kind of balanced, kind of like it was last night. Gagnon led us, and then everybody else kind of chipped in with a handful on their own. Clovis had the big layup at the end. Really, I can't single out. Gagnon kept us in the game, obviously. He scored all of our points in the first quarter when we were kind of struggling offensively. But without every single one of them, I don't know that we pull it away. All those kids made big plays, whether it was a rebound, whether it was a defensive stop, whether it was just getting into position offensively. They all did things that contributed to the win. And if we don't have every single piece of those, we don't come out with a victory.
Is that the biggest win of the year then? probably.
With the way it all happened, probably. You know, and everything that was on that game. You know, at the time in the conference, we were the only team that had one loss. So I knew if we won that game, we were guaranteed a share.
Right.
And we don't have, as far as I know, unless they changed the bylaws when I wasn't paying attention at lunch, we don't have a tiebreaker. So we automatic if we won that, and the kids knew that, and so with that on the line, and then it was band alumni night. And there were a lot of people in the gym. I was impressed with how loud it got at one point on that last free throw by Frontier. It probably was the biggest one of the year, just with everything and the time of everything going on in that game, but also what we had on the line. So, you know, credit to the kids. They're the ones that pulled it out.
You had a nice atmosphere there last night, too.
Yeah, Ricky Monemeyer commented about that, how
So
loud it was in the gym.
As loud as a game that they played all year?
Well, you know, I was, you know, the other night we had band alumni night, and so that West End, it was full. Like, you know, where the band normally is, they had trickled over into the top of that section right next to them where the students usually are. I mean, there were a lot of people down there.
Did the alumni play, too?
Yeah, they played. Yeah, he lets them come back and play in the band.
Oh,
yep.
Cool.
Last night I
really been good.
Well, last night I was impressed with with the band, but we also had a lot of students there.
Right.
We've had a lot of games where we haven't had that many students, and we had a lot of students and a lot of younger kids that ended up sitting down there with them.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, the one thing I've found in the last 3 years is as you can get competitive or as you can start to win those games, people want to come out and watch you. And that's one thing that I'm really proud of the kids for is, in my opinion, they've made North Newton basketball fun to watch. Because there was a spell about 5 years ago where nobody
wanted a chore. Yeah,
nobody wanted to come and watch. I mean, you'd get your parents out there, you'd get your grandparents out there, and that was it.
Yeah.
You know, we've got a lot of people coming to games that are just going out to watch a basketball game, and that's not something we've had in the past. You know, I got the gate receipt today, so I know we that's probably the most it's probably the most money we've made in a basketball game in a long time. I mean, that game's usually pretty big, but
that brings a smile to your face, doesn't
well,
it?
of course it does. That means new basketballs for everyone. No, it's great to have that atmosphere, not only for the kids, but I mean for everybody involved. You know, nobody wants to play in front of a gym where there's 25 people. That's no fun. That's practice basically for us.
Yeah.
You know, it's nice when you're able to get a lot of people in there, and the gym gets loud and the atmosphere gets exciting. It gets fun. You know, we don't get to play in those atmospheres very much. So I was very happy with that.
Fun game last night too against your arch rival, playing for the big trophy, and you had your way with South Newton.
Yeah, you know, I told you guys last night when we talked. You know, we came out in that first quarter, and I was worried with how we would start with everything going on. You know, we had senior night, and you're trying to get those kids refocused because it takes them out of their routine. And we had a lot of seniors to recognize. I think we had 19 that ended up walking last night. We had a lot of, you know, so that's an extra 15 minutes. It takes them out of their routine. But I was impressed with how they came out. They came out and they started attacking the rim. We were in position defensively. I know at one point it was 19-4 in the first quarter. I think it ended like 19-8 maybe.
Just kept attacking on the inside, didn't you?
Yeah, you know, that's always our plan is to I always tell them attack the rim, attack the rim, attack the rim. Our highest percentage shots are going to come around the rim, and that's where I want them to be. You know, and the first quarter really set the tone, and then we finished them off. I know in the fourth quarter they didn't score, and I felt like last night, you know, it was a very good team win. You know, we had a lot of guys contribute like normal. Obviously, Gagnon did what Gagnon's done for us in a lot of games where he gets going scoring or he rebounds well and gets putbacks. But I think Levy had 11, Scatella had 6, Church had 4 or 5. You know, scoring was pretty well distributed. But you know, just like the other night, you saw each kid have a key contribution to the win, whether it was a rebound, whether it was a defensive effort, whether it was setting somebody else up. You know, I thought we did a really good job of passing the ball last night to set other guys up. We haven't really been good with assists this year. Last night I felt like we did that a lot better.
And you guys were definitely ready to play. Boy, there's no doubt about it. That game was settled in the first quarter.
Well, I may have spent all of Monday's practice telling them that if they don't practice hard or they're not ready to play, we will get run out of the gym. And, that's the worst thing in the world anymore is that it's easy to know. All these kids know what everybody else is doing. So our kids knew they were 0-18. And watching film, I'll be honest with you guys, watching film, I was kind of worried. When we played Winamac the second time earlier in the year, they ran a lot of that back screen action, and we struggled to defend it. I mean, we got killed with that because they ran that back screen into a ball screen. And so watching South Newton do that, the first thing that popped into my head is this is how Winamac killed us. We have got to be able to defend. And so I was worried, and they have enough pieces. When you look at their team, they are better than what their record is.
Right.
I feel. I
well,
really.
You look Cruz, those guys are all good athletes.
Well, and that's what I put on most of that scouting report was really good athlete can get to the rim well. I mean, they can play. To me, I just feel like they don't have confidence in themselves as the biggest difference from where we're at to where they're at. You can just tell they're unsure of what to do, and I felt like, and I had told people, I feel like they are better than what their record shows, and I felt like I walked around practice all day Monday saying those exact same things. We took a whole 10-minute period where we just defended screens because I told them we have got to be able to defend. We have got to be able to defend. We have got to be able to defend. And so I really think our kids bought into that on Monday of, well, if coach is a little scared, maybe we should be. And like you said, in the first quarter, we came out, and I wasn't too scared after the first quarter.
Even last night, the JV game was a good game.
Yeah.
It was a real good game.
Our JV was able to come away with their second win this year. They to me, and I know nobody else sees this, I see it a lot in practice, they've really come a long way in about the last month to month and a half. They're doing things better. They're taking care of the ball better. They've been able to compete with us at times in practice just because they're starting to gain confidence. They'll make good passes. They're really patient, especially in practice. They work for the best possible shot. They don't force things. They've come a long way. I was really happy last night to see that they were able to pull off the win. Early in the year, they probably had a spell of like 3 or 4 games where it was like one possession, and they lost. And then you could just see that they were deflated, and it was kind of one of those, well, we can't win. It's nice to see those moments where they do things well and it pays off for them because they really are working hard and they really are doing a good job in practice every day.
Got back over 2 games over 500 now. What's the schedule look like the rest of the way here?
We go to Griffith on Friday and Clinton Prairie the following Friday.
There's 2 games left.
Everybody matches up with those records. I mean, Griffith 10-11, Clinton Prairie 10-9. You guys 11-9.
Yeah,
that's competitive.
We're similar to a lot of the teams that we play. That was part of kind of tweaking our schedule like we did last year. We want to get teams that we're going to be competitive with because we want we want good games. Griffith is athletic. They're pretty quick. They're going to give us a challenge on Friday. I really feel like we can compete hard against them. That's a game that should be a toss-up. Same way with Clinton Prairie. I feel like that game should be a toss-up. It's really just going to be who can do simple things the best, who can get consistent stops, who can get really good looks, who can take care of the basketball, who can rebound. Both of those games are going to come down to simple basketball things, and it's just going to be who can do them better.
Get you used to being on the road here as your sectional draw coming up.
See, the genius coaching of me was like, hey, our sectional's probably going to be in Whiting, so let's get the 2 furthest trips we could possibly have at the end of the year so we can prepare for that sectional.
I knew there was a reason for that.
Yeah, I 100% thought about that.
Yeah,
it did just come to me right now.
I bet it did. Well, let's talk before the sectional draw comes out. Talk about your sectional here.
You always just have to find a way to dampen my mood, Bob.
Well, you got those 2 teams that are obviously sitting on top.
I don't even know who's in your sectional. So
Gary 21st, Ileana Christian, Bowman Academy, and
are they good? Are they good?
Ileana Christian 16-3. Gary 21st is 15-5. Hey, we do have the third best record at 11-9. Gary 21st brings back those that guard that gave North White all the trouble last year in the regional. I think they have a post player that's maybe about 6'6". That's really solid. I don't know much about Ileana Christian, but they're obviously playing a lot of those schools up in the region that are competitive. For them to be 16-3, they're going to be pretty solid. Outside of that, I think the fields, it's kind of a toss-up. I don't know. It's weird to see a Bowman Academy team at 9-11. But again, you're playing the Lake Stations, you're playing the Gary 21st, you're playing the Ileana Christians. Andrain's the same way, 6-13, but they played somebody really close, maybe a Crown Point or a Munster, to like an 8-point game. So you never know what you're going to get. There's only 2 public schools in our sectional, us and Whiting. So, like I tell the kids, all we got to do is focus on what we do really well, do whatever we can to be competitive, and the chips fall where they do. We can't control what other teams do. We can't control the draw. We can't control who's in our sectional. All we can do is show up and play the absolute best we can.
You can't control the draw?
I wish I could. I need to sneak some ping pong balls down there.
There you go.
But, at this point in the year, anything can happen. I mean, you're going to be able to see, even when you're playing regular season games, teams know everything you're going to do by the time you get to this point. It's just about scheming to do something that may throw them off, or maybe we show up and shoot 70% from the free throw line.
Oh,
hey.
I know, we're all dreamers here.
Man.
Anything can happen. I like our kids. I like our chances. I feel like we're kind of in a spot where we're focused. We're playing better. I feel like we're taking care of the ball better. This is the first team I've had. I think that we are averaging less than 14 turnovers a game, and that is. I mean, my goal's always been 15, and we've usually
does
been
a good job of handling the ball.
They all take care of the ball for the most part.
Yeah.
But we're starting to do those things that in the middle of the year, early in the year, we didn't do great. I feel like, especially last night, we worked the ball really well for some looks last night, especially against that zone. We worked the ball around and found a wide open look in front of the rim. So we're starting to turn that corner and get those simple things shored up that anything can happen at this point in the year.
13-9 sounds good too, wouldn't it?
Sound fantastic. I told we've only had like 7 winning seasons since the school's consolidated.
Is that right?
And the last one was 2 years ago. So it's 7 or 8. I'd have to go back and look. But they're a good group of kids. They're battling. They're competing, and if we win one of the next 2, we guarantee a winning record.
There you go.
So
that's good.
I hope for the kids' sake that we're able to do it, just so they have that for them.
Good luck, Sam, and we'll talk to you next week, all right?
Thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Coach.
Sam Zachary from the North Newton Spartans is back to wrap things up with Chad Pulver from Rensselaer Central right after this.
Hi, this is Chuck Clark with the Underwood Insurance Agency, formerly Preferred Insurance Group. Are you tired of being sacked every month with your auto insurance bill? Do you feel you just pay your premium to your agent and never hear from them? We at the Underwood Insurance Agency work with over 10 insurance carriers to get you our best rate and coverage we can, and we pride ourselves on serving our customers like they are our family. We are conveniently located in Remington and Lafayette. We can be reached at underwoodagency.com. Reach out to us to score big savings.
Meet you at Arnie's, Rensselaer's go-to pizza, and so much more. Pizza, sandwiches, burgers are here. Don't forget about dessert. Wings, cheese sticks, garlic bread too. Arnie's pizza menu has something for everyone. Dine in or carry out in the best pizza in town. Located across from St. Joseph's College in Rensselaer. Call 219-866-9999 and meet you at Arnie's.
Pulver Psychological Services offers psychological counseling, consultation, and assessment. Locally owned and operated, Pulver Psych focuses on solutions for the community and serves as support for individuals, families, and organizations. Whether you're in need of personal, family, or success counseling, Pulver Psychological Services can help you reach your life goals. Increase work satisfaction, have better relationship compatibility, improve sports performance. Get in touch with Pulver Psychological Services by visiting pulverpsych.com.
In agriculture, preparation is important. Dedication is you deciding what to plant and then asking what it will take for a good crop. How much work will it take to produce the final crop? In sports, preparation is vital in becoming the best you can be. Dedication is a will of achievements for a winning desire. Corbett Farms encourages everyone to do their best by having a winning spirit, attitude, and achievement. Your positivity will make a difference. Corbett Farms is proud to sponsor high school sports.
Indiana Farm Bureau insurance agent Joe Goodman has been serving the Jasper County and surrounding area since 2009. Being involved in the area, Joe Goodman has kept his interest in making sure he provides the best insurance for his clients. Whether you need life, car, home, business, farm and crops, or even renter's insurance, Agent Joe Goodman will keep searching for the best policy for your valued investments. Call Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance Agent Joe Goodman at 219-866-4694 or stop in at 2570 North McKinley Avenue in Rensselaer.
After a hard day's work or play, it's time for some relaxation, and there's no better place than Unwind on Front Street in Rensselaer. For massage therapy, facials, spray tanning, yoga classes, and wellness, stop by Unwind. They also offer student athletes 30-minute massages for $25. Alina would like to thank Unwind's loyal customers for their patronage since 2016. To make an appointment, call Unwind at 219-869-0290.
Well, last but not least, it's Chad Pulver, the cleanup man, always here on the show, and we appreciate Chad coming in. It's always nice to keep talking about wins, right, for the Bombers.
It's very nice. It's been a very nice season for us. We have been playing well, and the guys have really done some good work. They have put together a nice set of games for themselves, and I think that shows how much they're playing together and how well they are executing schemes sometimes and adapting in the moment to give us an opportunity to be able to win some of those games.
6 in a row? Is that where we're at?
Seven.
Seven in a row.
I think it's 7. But,
sure you won.
You know, streaks only last when you win, so it doesn't matter what the streak is. It's about the next game, and I know that sounds really cliche, but the streak doesn't mean anything, and so it means overall that we're playing some good basketball. But you know, the reality is that the game that we have coming up in a couple days is one of the biggest of the season. We get to play for a conference championship. We've never earned that before, and so
right? Yeah.
to even be in this game is an accomplishment. But we're not going there to have a moral victory. We want to win this game. We want the championship, and I think that going against a team like Tipton, who is very good, very strong on their own floor. I think in the last 35 years, Rensselaer has only beaten them twice. And the Hoosier Conference membership that we've had, we've never been able to win a championship, and this is the first time we have a shot at it. So that's pretty cool.
Well, before we start talking about that, let's review, 2 wins, right, since I last talked to you?
Well, in order to give us this opportunity, which we have on Friday, we were able to be home with Benton Central.
What a game that was.
That was a very good game, a hard game for us. And our guys played well. We were able to come out with a win in that game. But we knew early in the season we played Benton Central on, I think, the 4th game of the year in the Classic down in Lafayette, and that went into overtime. We had a feeling that this was going to be another knockdown, drag-out game, and it was high intensity, but we were able to pull it out. We got a 6-point win out of that. And
you said it'd be in the 40s. You predicted it.
Well, because I know that what we fall back on is defense, and we had to do some things right. And I knew that they're not a team that's going to not play defense against us. And so I knew that it was going to be very difficult to get possessions and put the possessions in the hole. And so we had some foul trouble early and relied on, Caden Rowland had a great game, probably his best game of the season, just had 10 points in the first half, just kind of electrified us, and rebounds and assists and scoring for us, and that really carried us. And then when we were able to make some adjustments in the second half, we were able to hold the lead, take control of the game, take control of pace, and that was really important for us.
Who played well for you besides Roland?
Well, I would say that everyone played well for us. We really handled the glass very well. And I know that the BC was missing one of their main guys, number 31, who was a big player for them, was able to handle the ball and score very well for them. So I'm not losing sight of the fact that we'll probably see them as sectional, and they'll be at full strength at that point. But
3 times in a year?
Yeah, most likely. So, again, the 3 teams that we have a chance to see 3 times, Twin Lakes, Benton Central, and West Lafayette. And so we have seen them twice for sure. And now with sectional draw coming up this Sunday, we'll see where that's going to fall. But I'm pretty sure that it's going to go through Benton Central, and whether we get a draw of West Lafayette or Twin Lakes, I don't know.
But say you want to play one of those teams. Come on.
Do I want to play? I don't
Predict
care.
it right
I don't
now.
care who we play. I want to play and I want to win. And I think that's really the attitude that we've had this last couple months, is that the schedule is set. The most important game is the game that's right in front of us, and I think that's been really helpful for us, because going from different styles of basketball, depending on whether we go south or we go north, or different styles that we're trying to play against teams, being able to adapt to that has been very important for us. But as far as the game goes, Colby Chapman had a great game. Tristan Wietrich had a game. Corbin Matthew had a great game. Nolan
Wietrich kind of got taken out of it by foul trouble early, didn't he?
He did. He had some issues early in the game, but then kind of righted the ship and had some scoring in that last little bit of the game. And so
Chapman almost had to step up.
He did. He did a lot of orchestrating, moving the ball around, making sure that he took the scoring obligation onto himself. And Corbin, again, made some big shots and made some free throws down the stretch. And I think that was really important for we did not shoot as a team free throws very well on that Thursday night game, which is not very characteristic of us. Usually we're a much better free throw shooting team, but Corbin made 4 of 4 in the last couple minutes and just gave us the buffer. I think we could have had the buffer earlier in the game if we would have hit some of those shots. And we just
want to make it harder on the coach there. At the
well,
end,
I think sometimes they get together and decide what is the one thing we can do that will cause more gray hairs. So they did it very well on that Thursday night.
And you went to Frontier Saturday?
We did. We went to Frontier on Saturday and were able to control that game pretty well, and got out, and it had a couple nice runs, and were able to keep some of they have 2 good seniors, number 10 and number 22, who are able to get up and down. And 22 is a big, strong kid, and going on to play some college football. But we had plenty of film of him knocking people around, and it prepared our guys for it. You can't just stand around. You're going to have to be active and make it very difficult for him to get position in space. And our guys did that, and it made it difficult for him. And so then they relied quite a bit on number 10 to get their points. And so he was able to get to the foul line and gave him some breath at a couple points in the game. But really, we put the run on in that third quarter and took control of the game. And so that was good for us to, again, go on the road, get a win like that, and to give ourselves a little bit of momentum going into what is coming up this Friday.
All right. Let's talk about it now.
All right.
Tipton for the Hoosier Conference Championship.
So Tipton.
That sounds good.
It does sound. I would like for that to be the champions. So, but Tipton has a very good squad. They were in the same regional that we were last year, in the 2-way regional. And they lost in the first game, and we lost in the second game. So we were both there last year, so we got to see them play. They were able to see us play, and so there's some of that experience that they have. They're a younger team. They have some sophomores and juniors on the squad, and 2 guys that really can fill it up. They have number 3 and number 11, who are very good players, and then they have a third, number 23, who can shoot on the outside. And they have multiple guys that hit the three-pointer well over the 30% mark, and so we have to make sure we're in the proper positions. We have to make sure that number 3, who is a 6'5" guard, doesn't get to go and do whatever he wants to do. And so we have been game planning and trying to put ourselves in the best position possible, but it's going to come down to our defense and our rebounding. If we can put them into positions where they don't want to shoot or low percentage shots and then are able to clean the glass, that gives us an opportunity to go down and make them have to play against us. I think that we do have an offense that it can be difficult to guard. I think that we have a set of players that are sometimes able to put the ball in the hole pretty well, and so if we can control it and not go score for score, it puts a little bit more pressure on them. And they're a very good team. They've won a lot of games. They're ranked in the top, I think, 15. They might be number 13 in the state for 2A. They are home. They have had multiple Hoosier Conference championships. Everything that points at this says Rensselaer Central doesn't have any business going in this game. So we're going to go and give it an old college try and see what we can do.
Now, how does that work? Does the JV play too, or
They
no?
do, yep. So the JV has a game as well.
Okay.
So we're all traveling together. We're leaving a little bit before school gets out because we start later than most schools. So we're going to leave town at 3 p.m. Central Time because they're an Eastern Time school, in order to try to get there about an hour and 15 before game, so that we have a little bit of time to get the guys to show up and be able to maybe we'll be there 45 minutes before, somewhere in there.
And you might have to do that. Sectional time comes around too, right?
Yeah, so Frankfurt's a little bit of a drive as well.
Yeah.
That's an hour away. So if we play the early game, that might be a little bit difficult for us. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes.
Let's talk about what's your thoughts on the sectional before the draw happens?
What are my thoughts on it? I want to win it. How's that for a thought?
That's a good thought.
So I think that it's a pretty wide open sectional. You have
some pretty good records in there.
Yeah, so Western, I think their big man is getting back right now. So they had a little skid recently, but that's because one of their main guys was hurt. And so they run a lot through their big man. And I think he's back now, so you should see these last few games starting to move more into the win column. They're a very skilled team. They just kind of don't go away. They're very sound. Benton Central, they're no joke. And Frankfurt is much improved. They have a new coach this year. Rewind a year ago, and Frankfurt didn't win many games at all. Now they're sitting at 50%. And then you have West Lafayette, who is now 11-9, and had a big win for us to beat LCC.
Yeah, thing happened just right.
Yes,
didn't
we were rooting for West Lafayette on Friday night. It might be the first time in a long ever that some of us were rooting for West Lafayette. But it was, that being said, of the 7 teams in our our sectional, 5 of us have double-digit wins.
Wow.
And so, when people talk about wide open sectionals, this is one of them.
It's one of them with a lot of good teams in there.
And some of us know each other very well. So of the 7 in there are 5 of them that are from the Hoosier Conference. And 4 of them are from our side of the Hoosier Conference. Western is part of the east side of the conference, and we haven't seen them. But Benton Central, Twin Lakes, and West Lafayette, I think, all played Western. And so they know each other very well. And that can make a very fun environment. And so I hope, Case Arena is a beautiful place to play. I think it'll be a nice experience for the guys to be able to travel over there and see that. And we got together earlier in the season and watched Blue Chips and let them see the arena in the movie, so that way they have at least a visual of what it's going to be like in there.
What's the rest of your schedule look like in the regular season?
So Tipton on Friday, and then next week Tuesday is Lowell, and then Friday is Winnemac. And Lowell and Winnemac are both home.
2-18 and 8-13.
What's that?
I say records 2-18 and 8-13.
Okay,
putting the pressure on them, then, aren't you?
Just
those traditionally have been an indication for how we're going to play into the next week.
And he's going to say, we don't look at the records, right?
We don't. I mean, you talk about Lowell. Lowell on that Tuesday plays their rival in their next game. So I think Friday they play Crown Point, which is their A1 rival of the school systems. Mm-hmm. And so at that point you throw them out the window. For us, they don't care anything about us. So all they want to do is they want to beat us. And so, if we think for a second that Lowell is fearful of Rensselaer Central, we're delusional. So, I mean, they have more students than we do. They have more ability to get people into opportunities and to do things. And so, what'd you say, 2-18?
2-18.
Yeah, I don't care anything about that. that doesn't impact me at all.
And we've heard from the other coaches how tough Winnemac is.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah.
I bet. And that's what I mean is that we traditionally, for a lot of years now, have played Winnemac the last game of the season. And I don't know that there's a single time that we played them that I thought, oh, that was easy. It's not an easy game. It's never an easy game.
Right.
It's a tough place to play. They're a tough team to play. They play hard. They are hard-nosed. They have some talent that it puts the ball in the hole. So, I mean, at this time of year, what else are they fighting for? They're fighting for pride. They're fighting to make sure that they can finish the season and get themselves ready for sectionals. So records don't mean anything. They don't.
Before we let you go, bring us up to date on the JV Bombers.
JV has been, they had a rough go on Thursday night, which was uncharacteristic of them, and but then bounced back and had a great game on Saturday. They have, I think, they're 12-7. So they've done well. They have a chance to still break the 14 mark, which is really what their goal was. And I think I've said it before. Anytime someone's playing well on JV, they usually lose time on JV. So there is a reality to how that's played out. We have Brian Camarina, who is a big player for them physically as well as just in a role, and he's been on our end of the floor for the last couple months, and it's out of necessity. I mean, we need bodies at this point, and so he's done a really nice job for us and is doing some things positive for the varsity side, and he still has some minutes down with the JV, but as far as like, oh, okay, we've got 4 quarters of Brian, just throw it into him over and over and over, that doesn't get to happen. So they're bringing up some other guys and trying to get them to do well. So, some of the freshmen that are stepping up, you've got Cohen Westfall, who's hit some shots in the last few games. Calden Pulver has done a good job in the down low with getting space and finishing. But then you have Chase Van Meter, who's had a great sophomore year. You have Diego, who didn't play his freshman year, came out this year and has done a great job. Trent Walter, who's a junior playing down, has taken on a role of really kind of controlling the team. And so we were very cognizant of when we had people trying out for the team, we didn't want juniors trying out for the JV squad. So people made the squads. They were juniors and seniors that played and made the varsity squad. But then as things started to fall into place, some of those juniors we knew would get good minutes and could build their game. And Trent was one of those guys that took the challenge and has done a really nice job with that. His shooting has improved tremendously. He's always been a good shooter, but he has improved, and his ability to see the floor and do things has really gotten stronger. And so really happy for him and how he's been playing.
Coach, how many seniors do you have on your squad this year?
We have 6 this year.
6?
Yep.
And so senior night is Winnemac on?
Correct. The last night.
Friday.
And so Winnemac on the 24th is our senior night. So we'll have, and all 6 of those guys are 4-year players.
Wow.
And so
that doesn't happen.
No, it's pretty special. These guys have put in a lot of time and effort. They have been around. Their families have dedicated their time and resources for a lot of years, not just the high school years, for a lot of years. And so this record that you're seeing is because of how hard those players have worked and how supportive those families have been. And I think that's a really strong testament to a program is more than just a couple guys getting together and trying to see if they can win. A program is built because the community buys into wanting something to be special. And those parents and those families did that, and the guys put some real time and effort into it to build their craft. And I'm getting to have a really nice ride right now because those boys and those families have done that.
Can you give our viewers an update on the injury to Caden Rowland, who got hurt in the Benton Central game? Where are we at with him now?
So Caden went down in the 4th quarter of that Benton Central game, was evaluated by the athletic trainer, weren't sure what was going on, and had a doctor's visit, and then scheduled an MRI. The MRI was taken, and then hopefully we'll get some feedback of what the results were of that. So our hope is that it's just a sprain, that there is an opportunity for him to return sooner than what it would take to go through surgery. The reality is we don't know what that's going to be. And if it's a bad enough sprain, he might be out for the rest of the season anyway. Right. If it's a minor sprain, maybe we get him back for sectional time, maybe in the middle of sectional time. If it's something more than that, then we have to keep winning to hopefully get him to come back. And so we have our fingers crossed. He, as of right now, is still on crutches. He is still in a brace and is non-weight bearing, but that's by the doctor's orders as opposed to by necessity because he can't put weight on it. It's just because I think they want to make sure that if there's something there, they don't want it to be exacerbated. So we hope to know more tomorrow. I keep telling him to think intact and think stable. So that's what we're trying to do.
Well, you've had your share of injuries the last couple of years there, haven't you?
We have, and the coaches and I have talked that for a lot of years we had a full-on, this is what our warm-up is going to be and this is how we're going to do it, and it was very preventative-minded with what needed to happen. And the last couple of years, the personalities of the boys weren't quite as, like, we don't want to do that for that amount of time. We'd rather do something else. And so pulled off a little bit and seemed to be like, well, we'll make it work, and maybe we'll, after this, where we've had 2 ACLs and then potentially a third happen in less than 2 full seasons, we're going to go back to what we did. We had a lot of years where it wasn't an issue, and so now we're going to go back to making this as a non-issue as we can get it to be. I know, teenagers don't want to spend 10 plus minutes warming up, but the reality is that if we can get their warm-up time to actually be preventative maintenance for their ligaments, their knees, their joints, it's going to be better for us as a squad. So you're going to have to suck it up and do some warm-up.
Can I ask you how your son's doing now and his
Cassius
rehab?
is doing very well. He is about a month ahead of schedule. And honestly, the testament of I think has a lot to do with how seriously he took his preventative maintenance. And so although it was the physical trauma of the knee and the way it was, the torsion and torque that happened to cause the tear, was a significant amount. There was a significant amount of bone bruising, as well as the ACL and meniscus were torn. And so that is by itself painful, but because he had spent so much time getting himself ready to play, then the amount of strength that he had in the knee, I think it has just allowed for him to go through the rehab better than what we would have expected. And so it's been great. He's actually doing significant weight building now. So he is he'll come and report to me because he'll work out during our practices, and he'll come back and tell me, like, I'm so tired. Our athletic trainer has done a great job. She's communicating with the PT down in Indianapolis that we're working with, and so they have an idea of where he needs to be pressured and pushed. And so he's done a nice job of staying on schedule, and Robin, our athletic trainer, has done a great job holding him accountable and trying to push him at the same time, dialing it back when he needs it. And so
it's got to be hard.
I think it is hard. I think
for everybody.
Well, for him, I think he does have the mentality of he's always kind of been a grinder. Like you put him in, and he'll do the work, and he'll kind of get through things. And for the ACL, that part's fine. For the meniscus, you can't push it through. Like the meniscus doesn't respond, and so you have to know when to stop. And so that part's been difficult. My wife, who is a physical therapist, understands the nuts and bolts of what needs to happen, but emotionally, it's difficult. It is not what any of us wanted for his senior season. And so, he's got a different role. He's there every day. He comes to morning jumpers. He's there for practice every day. He's on the bus. And so, as far as being a part of the squad, he's there. But it's different. I know it's different for him, and I know it's different for the guys. And there are some of these games coming up where his skill set would have been pretty important for us, and to know that we can't fall back on that is we have to adjust. And so we're doing our best, and so when I talk about where we are, it sometimes feels like we're just scraping by. I mean, I know we're getting wins, and that's a testament to how hard the boys are playing, but man, sometimes it feels like where is this going and what ride are we on now? And so I think Friday night's going to be a really good test for us because this is a very good team we're going up against, and they're not scared of anybody. And so we're going to have to perform in a very hostile environment where I don't think many people are going to be wearing red and black. And so we're going to go into the kind of a blue sea over there and hopefully make some noise and ruin their evening. So
go get them Friday night.
Thank you very much.
All right. Chad Pulver from the Rensselaer Central Bombers back to wrap things up on the Coach's Cage right after this.
High-quality personalized dental service is what they do at Hillcrest Dental. For over 40 years, generations have relied on Hillcrest Dental for beautiful, healthy smiles. Dr. John Ayler and Dr. Jack Drone look forward to seeing you for your next dental visit. For information or to set your appointment, call 219-866-7117. That's 219-866-7117 or visit hillcrestdental.net. Hillcrest Dental is a proud sponsor of all high school athletics. Pulver Psychological Services offers psychological counseling, consultation, and assessment. Locally owned and operated, Pulver Psych focuses on solutions for the community and serves as support for individuals, families, and organizations. Whether you're in need of personal, family, or success counseling, Pulver Psychological Services can help you reach your life goals. Increase work satisfaction, have better relationship compatibility, improve sports performance. Get in touch with Pulver Psychological Services by visiting pulverpsych.com.
Working with our customers has been Kentland Bank's trademark for 87 years. We're dedicated to making your visit a lasting one, and helping you achieve your goals is our #1 priority. With 5 locations, Kentland Bank offers all loans needed for today's businesses and families, including car loans, mortgages, agriculture, and commercial loans. We're here to make your busy life less hectic by offering online and mobile banking, bill pay, and P2P payments. Member FDIC and Equal Housing Lender.
All right, ready to wrap things up here on the Coach's Cage. Thank all the coaches for coming in. Arnie's for hosting us. The sponsors for making the show possible. Scotty Miller, great job running the board. For my partners, Bill Kay and Scotty Miller, till we greet you next Wednesday. Right back here on the Coach's Cage at 6 o'clock. So long, everybody.
The proceeding was a presentation of 3KG Community Broadcasting.